Fight your bag. Let's go. Where you going? Get your bag. Who doesn't have their bag? Who doesn't have their bag? Get your bag. Get your bag. Go get your bag. Hurry up. Scoot up.
I'm Seaman Recruit Lowing. I'm with X-Ray 181, and I just finished my first week of training, the forming week. My first week of boot camp, it was what I expected, but not exactly what I thought. I knew it would be a difficult task coming in here. The hardest thing for me was the discipline part of it. I didn't know exactly how intricate the discipline had to be. You know, you have to do it precisely what they ask you to do and what they say. So it took me a little while to try to get my mind into that type of mindset. But I think I'm working on it, I'm getting better at it. A lot of these guys, they're younger than me, so I try to help them along, and they help me along too. At first, when we first got here, we was kind of just scattered all over the place. And, you know, no one really knew each other, so we weren't trying to step on any toes. But as soon as we got into our actual company, we knew that, you know, our company commanders on the time objectives, they weren't playing around. So we knew we had to really help each other out. And now it's like we're brothers, you know. If somebody needs some help with something, you know, no matter who it is, we all chip in so we can meet our time objectives on time. The event, a moment that sticks out in my mind from the past week, the marching. The marching is a little more convoluted than I thought it was. I thought it was just a bunch of guys stomping their feet, but there's a lot of commands and demands that you have to know in order for it to be precise and to be in cohesion. So it took me a little while to get that down. The instructions of the company commanders, they pretty out front with what they want you to do. You really just have to listen, basically. If whatever you don't catch, somebody caught. So you just ask them, we all help each other along. My company commanders, it's still early, you know, in my boot camp experience, so I haven't really got to know them that much very well, but you can tell that although they're hard on us, they care. You know, when they're not hounding us out, they kind of nurturing us to bring us along for some of us that don't get it. Petty Officer Vanover, I think he does the most of the teaching of the recruits, I think. I think he's very good at what he does. He makes sure that we're in line and we get the commands right, we go over it. And he's a fair guy. You know, if we're not doing what we're supposed to do, then we're gonna pay for it. If we are, then, you know, he's gonna go on to the next thing and keep teaching us. The first wake up from company certainly wasn't pleasant. You really have to get used to waking up that way because it kind of rattles you because you be in a deep sleep because you be so tired from the previous day. And all of a sudden, early in the morning, you hear this bullhorn and an alarm, and it just kind of shakes you up a little bit. And you have to be fast, and you have to get your mind to process that it's time to get up and be online. So it was a little hard at first, but then you kind of get used to it. Really, at this point, I have no concept of time because we stay busy, we're constantly doing something. And in a way, I sort of like it that way because then that way the days are not dragging. I would advise anybody to come, don't worry about what time it is because you're going to get to bed when the commander says you're going to bed. So just kind of go with the flow. Just when you come to boot camp, just make sure that, first of all, make sure you're in shape and make sure that you as fast as you possibly can be. Most people are used to taking your time and, you know, doing it at your own pace, but here, you know, you have so many people and we all have to do the same things and you have to do it within a certain time frame. Just make sure you do everything with speed and make sure you're loud as you possibly can be.
Seaman Recruit North, Company X-Ray 181, finishing up week 1. The first week was really difficult just because you're learning a lot of commands, you're taking a lot of orders, and there's a lot of yelling. Everyone's making mistakes, everyone's getting yelled at, and you're just kind of trying to avoid being that person. As soon as we got to the gate at Cape May, everyone was kind of like, this is really happening. All right, this is really happening. And then as we pull up to Sexton Hall, we see the company commanders lined up and the bus starts backing up in front of those yellow triangles. And, you know, they come on the bus and they tell you you have 10 seconds to get off the bus and you've just wasted 5 of them and go, 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 go. And you can't get out there fast enough. But you try. You know, initially we're not doing push-ups, so it's not that bad. You're just getting screamed at, but some people were having a really hard time just because you're not used to getting yelled at. The first time we got woken up with fire, 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 it's kind of a shock to the system. You know, you are passed out because you're tired, you're exhausted, and you don't have a second to think. You get out of your rack, you put on your Go Fasters, and you book it out the door. I mean, you are up and out within, I would say, 2 minutes. I think the hardest part thus far has been going to the galley. Everyone was getting screamed at, and your company commanders, there's company commanders set up at every post that's, you know, at the front of the line, at the side of the line, at the back of the line, where you get your tray, where you set your tray down, when you have to wait to go get water. You know, they're at every single post just waiting to fix mistakes that people are making, and I think that was probably the hardest thing this week, which sounds a little silly, but it's a lot to take in. Speed is a huge thing here. You need to speed walk everywhere you go. You need to double time it. You've got to get where you're going and get things done as quick as humanly possible. And one of the things that Petty Officer Garza, I believe, said to us was, you've joined a life-saving service. Every second counts. And I think that's what they're really trying to instill in us, is you've got to get things done as fast as possible, because if you leave somebody in the water too long, or you can't get your fire equipment out soon enough, somebody's going to die because you couldn't get it done fast enough. Looking back now, I wish I had started physically training a lot earlier, and I'm a smoker, and I wish that I had stopped smoking a lot sooner. I think I had my last cigarette the day before I came, and it didn't help. It's making things a lot more difficult, and my thighs are burning, my arms are sore, my abs are sore, everything's sore, and we've only been going for 2 days now. I definitely wish that I would have started training a lot sooner. I only started a couple of weeks before we left. If I had to give anybody advice to surviving week 1, it would be pay attention, listen, do what you're told, don't talk, and go as fast as humanly possible.
I'm Seaman Recruit Boone, X-Ray 181. We just finished up week 2. Week 2's been a rough week, honestly, for us. We're starting to come together slowly, but it doesn't seem like it's gonna be able to come together quick enough. At times, I get a little discouraged, but one thing Captain Thomas said to us on pickup day last Friday was, whenever we get real down and we just don't think we can go on, just think of everybody back home. So whenever I get down and I don't think I'm able to do any more push-ups, or don't think I'm gonna be able to go through any more running or anything, I just start thinking about everybody back home, and I just keep pushing myself even harder every day. Oh, that day wasn't my day. I got called out a lot that day.
Tell them what you did, bro. Face it. Shipmates, I scratched my face, shipmates.
Shipmates, I scratched my face, shipmates.
And that's what we do at the position of attention, right? We scratch our faces, right? Sir,
no, sir!
Good. Push-up position, take.
I don't know what it was. I couldn't hold it together that day. I had a mosquito drilling into my face, and it was beyond bugging me, and I didn't even know he was right there, because we're supposed to keep our eyes in the boat. I didn't even see him. I made me feel bad, but that was probably one of my first times getting called out, but I definitely don't want to be called out like that again, make everybody stay out, so keep myself straight from now on. This past week, the physical part, the run, the first mile run we did, the shoulder run, where we sprinted the straightaways and walked the corners, that was harder than the normal run, because my lungs were just on fire by the 4th sprint. That was tough. The swim wasn't that bad. A couple of people had trouble with the swim, but the physical part that really sucked this week was the bikes. That was probably one of the most intense burns I've ever had in my legs before. It wasn't so much like the cardiovascular part, as my legs were just on fire by the however many we did by the last one. I didn't know if I was gonna be able to keep that revolutions per minute above 100. The IT, well, we got our pieces this week, so they like to give us IT with the pieces now, which really, that's horrible. Doing up, down, ups with them and front sweeps, and Even just doing squats with them, because you gotta hold that heavy gun straight out in front of you, and if you drop your arms, we do it for longer. The classes they're really not hard, as long as you pay attention, and most of our tests have been like open book, and it's only like a 10-question test. So the classes aren't hard. It's staying awake is the hardest part, because most of the time you're outside moving around, drilling and everything, and then you go and sit down in a nice cool room, and you just, it's hard for me to keep my eyes open. Sometimes I have to go stand up in the back of the classroom. To survive week 2, don't talk in formation. Don't swat the mosquitoes away from your face. Don't swat the mosquitoes anytime during boot camp. Keep your eyes in the boat, and just listen. Make sure you rush. Just run all the time. To tell you to get outside on the line, be there 3 minutes early. Just keep pushing forward. It gets tough at times, but you just gotta pick your head up and keep going. Yeah, I'm glad I'm doing it. It's a good experience for life. Like I said, it's got its ups and its downs, but in the long run, it's all gonna be worth it. So sometimes you gotta do something you don't want to get to the place you want to be.
I'm Seaman Recruit Newen, part of X-Ray 181, and we just finished our second week here at Cape May. This week has definitely been tough on us. I thought the first week was rough, but this week there was a lot of IT, intensive training, or incentive training, and just trying to keep up with everybody else, especially marching-wise. We got our pieces this week, and doing incentive training with that is probably absolutely unbelievable.
3, 2, 3, 3.
At first, I was really nervous for the swim assessment because it would tell us if we needed remedial swim or anything like that. Jumping off that platform, I was like, I gotta relax, I can do this, I can swim, I know how to. I got tired around 3/4 of the way, but I ended up finishing perfectly fine. Treading water for 5 minutes was a little bit more difficult. Keeping my head above the water was a little bit tougher, but somehow I still managed to do it. Running came a little bit harder for me. I don't know what happened, but my hip gave out for the shuttle run, and then I got dizzy from the mile run. I usually finish a mile in about 9 minutes, but this time I couldn't even actually finish it at all. They keep telling us to keep ourselves hydrated, and I don't know what happened. I keep drinking water, but it's not enough, and I guess I have to step that up. On the Cybex machines, I think I like that the most because we actually got to sit down but keep our legs actually in shape for these runs. I was looking around to the girl next to me, and she was struggling like crazy. Here I am just slightly getting there, and the girl next to me, she's above the RPM that we're supposed to be at. And it's like everybody has their own pace, and we just have to realize that we have to get on the same level to actually succeed. I didn't realize how much studying I was gonna have to do here. I thought it was all gonna be physical training and actually getting to lose a little bit of weight, but nah. We're most of the time learning about new things like rates and ranks, how to salute, military courtesies, close order drills. It was constant. Sitting in that classroom trying to listen and actually having to sit in the front made me really sleepy listening to all the lectures, but at least we don't get in trouble for going to the back of the classroom to stand up to keep us from sleeping, because if we actually sleep in our class, we get reverted back a week into a different company and we have to start all over pretty much. Evening muster is a routine that we do before we go to bed. The yeomen call out everybody's roster numbers, and we have to sound off our last names. At the end, we all shout out, "We are X-Ray 181," and you can tell everybody's proud to be part of X-Ray.
People ready to move forward and start training? Sir, yes, sir! You ready to become guardians? Sir, yes, sir! We'll see.
Tension on deck! Tension on deck! Seats.
Sir, yes, sir!
Welcome to Training Center Cape May, and welcome to Coast Guard recruit training. You are about to begin the most difficult job interview of your life. There are no guarantees here. If you do not meet or exceed every standard of our program, you will not graduate from Training Center Cape May, and you will not earn the privilege or the right to serve as a Coast Guardsman. Is that understood?
Sir, yes, sir!
You truly are the best volunteers our nation has to offer. We know you have what it takes, but over the next 8 weeks, we are going to test you to ensure you have the desire to join us in our service. We are going to push you mentally. We are going to test you physically. And we are going to stretch the emotional limits. You are going to face seemingly impossible tasks. We are going to test your desire to serve, and we are going to work to prepare you for the rigors of service in the United States Coast Guard. We know that if you won't quit here, you won't quit out there. When your lives are on the line, your shipmates' lives are on the line, and the lives of those you are supposed to protect are on the line as well. We have to ensure that you are ready to serve as our shipmates and that you are ready to protect, defend, save, and shield our nation and our waterways from all who seek to do us harm. I hope that you have prepared yourself for training with this in mind. This is not just 8 weeks. This is the challenge and potentially the opportunity of a lifetime. This is Training Center Cape May. Your future as a Coast Guardsman starts here. Are you ready?
Sir, yes, sir!
Are you ready?
Sir, yes, sir!
Then I think we are about to find out.
Let's get it together. Make it like it.